Hi. We want to, of course, welcome Daniel Handler and Maira Kalman to Amazon.
Daniel, Maira.
Yes, she's Maira.
You're Daniel.
I am, yeah.
To promote their book, Why We Broke Up.
That's our book.
What's your book?
Our
well,
book.
yeah.
Your book.
Yes.
Could you tell us
co-own
a
it.
little bit about how we got to 13 Words and then from 13 Words to Why We Broke Up, how that collaboration happened?
First, we were friends. And we
First,
still are.
First and always, we're friends.
Yes.
And we have similar sensibilities of tragedy and comedy. So, and we've known some children in our time.
We have, yes. And we were children. Not when we met, afterwards.
So I'd heard that after 13 Words
Yes.
that you wanted to do another book together, and that Maira, that you wanted to paint small objects.
Well,
Well, Daniel wanted to start the book from the images.
Okay.
So we came to my studio and looked at stuff.
because we started 13 Words with a manuscript that I gave Maira in a restaurant, and I hid in the bathroom while she read it.
While I ate chicken.
While she ate chicken.
Delicious.
And and then when we had such a good time working on the book that I said, would you like to do another book? And she said,
Absolutely. Spit spot.
yeah.
Yes.
And I said, but I'm tired of hiding in the bathroom. So let's do it another way.
I hide in the bathroom.
And we thought, wait a minute, maybe nobody needs to hide in the bathroom. And so we went to her studio and looked at things that maybe she would want to paint. And those things were small objects.
Okay.
And I thought, what makes small objects beautiful? One is that they're painted by Maira Kalman. It's a little.
Thank you.
You're
Thank
quite
you.
welcome. The other is when they're infused with romantic memory. And so we began to think about a collection of small objects that would be infused with romantic memory and that would be written about in a long letter from a girl named Min
Short for Minerva.
to a boy named Ed.
Short for
Ed.
and
Long for
long for short for
Yeah.
Ed. And she puts all the objects in a box and returns them to him
Dumps it on his porch.
and says, "This is it. This is it. We're over."
With
now I'll
emphasis
tell
on the
you
word
why."
dumps. Yes.
Dumps.
And she writes a very long letter. And the letter is the book, and the items are the paintings.
Excellent.
It is available on Amazon now. Right
Thank you.
now.
So who contributed which
More?
items?
Probably me.
You
Or
probably
you?
read
In terms of the objects, like who came up with what ideas of what
Hmm.
was going in this box?
We looked at a lot of. I collect lots of different things: combs and
Moss.
moss and
onion
onion
rings.
rings and postcards of volcanoes. So Daniel and I just spent a lot of time looking at all the things in the studio and the ephemera and saying, what is it that he would like and what would I like to paint?
And then certain other objects began to kind of float into the story. So I would call Maira and say, how about we add this tag that I'm mailing you? Or how about an odd pod? Or a coin. I like the coin a lot.
Or stolen sugar?
Or
Who's the
stolen sugar.
Right.
Right.
So we had to go out and steal the sugar dispenser.
I was wondering.
She stole it. I do not participate in any criminal activities, nor would I ever.
So which objects?
Out of my respect for Amazon.com, one of the greatest websites in the history of the world.
So were there objects that didn't make the cut? In
Many,
terms of-
Yes.
many objects.
There are
in the
many
world.
more
There were
objects in the world than
buildings,
there are in the
right, There
book.
were buildings, there were horses, there were
Yeah.
other things.
There was a
you
tube
know.
of toothpaste for a while, and then we decided not against it.
Yeah. So there was a little bit of back and
In the
forth
book,
about
we're
it.
not against toothpaste in general.
Or horses and boxes?
No,
Right.
we are in favor of good dental health.
Excellent. So, so I heard
Glad.
that you wrote the whole letter out longhand. Is that
It's true, I did.
right?
I sat in cafes, I'm sure looking like a crazy person, with headphones on, listening to Chopin and New Order, and wrote the whole thing longhand on legal pads.
And what were you doing while he was writing longhand?
Just getting my nails done and
Plopping
like
grapes
that,
into
right,
her mouth.
Exactly. Bonbons. We're just waiting.
Well, we live far
in a
from each
chaise,
other. She
waiting
lives
a
in New
chaise.
York, the city of New York, and I live in the city of San Francisco, and they are not near one another.
So we love each other from
Yeah,
far
we
away.
love each other from far away.
So how
We
did
prefer
that?
it that way.
How did you work together then? When did you get together to work on the project, or was it by email or phone, or how did this come
Yeah,
about?
we used email.
Email, we definitely use
We used
email.
the phone.
We also like the phone. And then sometimes I would go to New York.
That's true.
And I would go to her house, and we would say, we really have to work on the book today. We have to have these conversations. And she would say, well, come on over to my apartment. And I would say, that's very sweet of you. And she would say, I've made some coffee and a lemon pound cake. And I would say, well, I really shouldn't eat more than 5 or 6 slices of this pound cake. And then we would eat the pound cake, and we would drink a lot of coffee, and we would talk about things that were magneted to your refrigerator, or things that occurred to us, or things that we were reading, things that we weren't reading. And then I would usually end up playing the piano a little bit for no reason, I
That's
would
true.
say.
Well, I
Then
would
we
lie
would
on
say,
the
oh my
chaise,
goodness,
right?
look at the time. It's cocktail hour, and we haven't done anything. Oh, well. That was basically our
That's
working
how the
process.
book got done.
Yeah.
Nice.
We offer this as an example to other people who might be interested in working.
But not with you two, right?
No, but what the
No,
process
no,
would be,
go
what
out and do your
right?
own thing. Yeah. Never hurts to have cake.
There's no cake in the box.
Oh. There's no cake in the box.
There's
That
no
sounds
cake
like a
in the box.
euphemism for something.
Doesn't it?
Yeah. I like her, but there's no cake in the box, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. Is that like there not being anybody home upstairs, right? Our euphemisms that we were
Are you
talking
talking about your
earlier.
coworkers here in the
No,
Amazon
I see
building?
again. Apologies to the coworkers.
Yeah, I'm sure they're nice.
So how much coaching did Daniel need to get the particulars of the teenage girl correct? Did you have to coax him along?
Not from me.
No, she's.
No,
You're
I was
not
out,
a teenager.
I was out of it. I mean, I don't even know if we spoke a little bit.
A little
about
bit.
A little bit, but really it was Daniel who went and created the character of Minerva, who is very courageous, and because she's courageous, she's brave enough to fall in love, and she's brave enough to know when it's over. And that takes a lot of courage.
I didn't. Yeah, well, there wasn't a lot of
I think of
coaching.
that.
I'm
Yeah,
glad.
but I
That's
didn't-
very flattering of you. Once I was at a dinner party, and there was a woman and her husband, and I was writing the book, and I was unsure about a certain time period. So I said to the woman, if you were dating a boy and you didn't have very much in common, when do you think you would end up sleeping with him? And she gave me a timeline, and her husband was very shocked.
Like the first
And it
night,
began
she
an
said
argument.
first
Yeah,
night,
she was
of
like, "What
course.
time you got?" Yeah.
Yeah.
And I thought I shouldn't do any research anymore with couples that I know.
That's good. So it seems like folks have been really willing to share their breakup stories. I mean, beyond the writers.
Overly
just-
willing, I would say.
That's what it seemed
Yeah.
like to me too. Has there been any really surprising short stories you'd like to share?
Well, we just heard one that was kind of a little sad, but a man had saved a grapefruit,
Half a grapefruit.
from the last breakfast.
His last breakfast
that he had with
Marlena. And
In the
he
freezer.
saved it wrapped in saran wrap in the freezer. He saved it for guess how long? Guess.
A month?
11 years.
That's the usual time for saving the grapefruit.
Yeah.
11
Wow.
years. Marlena.
Marlena.
He said he just hadn't gotten around to throwing it out.
How long did the relationship last?
But he had
Did you
time to
ask?
call
that's
us
a
and
good
tell us
question.
about it.
No, we
Right.
didn't know.
No,
I
we
don't
didn't know, no.
Right, because there seems like
If
there
you're
should
out
be
there,
a formula.
call
for-
us and tell us the rest of the story,
Right.
sir.
So any other things, people who overshare to the point where
Yeah, there's some really horrible, oversharing
Horrible
stories. I don't want to
stories.
even talk about
We
that.
don't, they haunt us, and then we try to forget about them.
We get anxious.
And we don't want to have them brought up again because it's sad. And it's been since I started writing the book. It never has happened with me with another book. When people would say, "What are you working on?" and I would say, "I'm working on a book about 3 children who get thrown down an elevator shaft," they would say, "Oh." But when I said I'm working on a book about 2 teenagers and they're breaking up, people had stories. So overall, I think people have more stories of heartbreak than they do about getting thrown down an elevator shaft.
Though it has brought up a lot of our own stories of being
Yes.
heartbroken, and that's a whole other aspect that
We're wandering the
we're-
country,
We're living,
consoling
we're
one
reliving
another.
for our great tragedies.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd read, right? You once had a choice between a Leonard Cohen lookalike and a Bob Dylan lookalike.
Well, they were sequential.
Oh, they were sequential.
Yeah.
I
First
see.
it was Bob, and then it was Leonard. But both of them thought I wasn't the right mate for them.
Wow, heartbreaking.
It is. That's very sad.
Yeah, it is sad.
Because you're so appealing and so talented in
very
many
much.
ways.
Well, now
I'm sure
don't
both
they
those
rue the
boys
day?
regret it. Yes.
So the project website, how did that come to be?
It's a Tumblr. Myra just
Whoa.
learned the word Tumblr, and she's very excited about it.
It's a Tumblr.
It's a Tumblr. Even though
That's all I know. I don't know anything else. It's a Tumblr.
I know when Myra says Tumblr, that's what she's picturing are Russian teenagers. Like that.
Right. Some
Right?
vodka, some caviar. But anyway, it's a Tumblr
And some tumbling.
that is on the
Computer.
computer.
When you go to your
Right.
computer and you're on the web, which
World
some
Wide
Amazon
Interweb.
customers may have heard of, you can go and you can post your story of a breakup.
It's called
It's called the Why We Broke Up
Project.
And you can go and post your story of a breakup, and you can read other people's stories, and you can come together in an enormous morass of heartbreak,
And Daniel
and we will read
makes
it.
comments.
Sometimes I make comments, sometimes insulting, and Myra and I both read them, but not to mock.
Never to mock.
Well,
Just a little bit.
Maybe a little bit of mockery around the edges, but mostly to commiserate, to
To
sympathize,
console,
to empathize.
empathize, compassion.
Compassion
That's
is
what we're
our
all about,
watchword.
Compassion.
Compassion and maybe a little lemon pound cake, if there is any. Is there any?
That's a good ending.
That
I thought I went like kind of, is there any? And then
I agree.
and then boom.
Well, thank you both so much for being
Thank
here.
you. You have a beautiful home. We're privileged to be a part of it.